What's good, Overwatch fans? It's Saturday in sunny Los Angeles, and we are live for the fourth stage of the 2019 Overwatch League season, where 4 more teams will kick off their final stage today. The Paris Eternal kicked off their stage 4 with a big win over the Houston Outlaws on Thursday. Paris is back in the building to take on the Los Angeles Valiant, who are riding a wave of momentum from stage 3. The Valiant are back into the playoff race after beginning the season 0-8. A win today will push them 1 spot closer in the crowded race for the 12th and final seed. This match is in 30 minutes. Welcome to the Watchpoint pre-show presented by State Farm. I'm your freshly tanned host, Malik Forte, joined by Zoe, Bryn, and Sideshow. Guys, I was away on vacation for the last week. It seems like a lot of stuff happened. New characters, Reaper coming back in the meta. What's going on?
How many people messaged you about the Reaper?
Oh, so many. DMs flooded. flooded. But it looks like 222's been going well so far. Roadlock's been great.
Oh, yeah. No, it's been insane, honestly. And we're about to see another day full of high-octane matches, I guess, as well. I mean,
you stole that word from a league in the pre-show.
High-octane?
Yeah, when we sat down, he used the word. Now you're using it.
Really?
I did?
Yeah.
That word's not
exclusive. Never heard you use that word.
The word's not exclusive to me.
No, I'm an idiot. It wasn't intentional.
Okay.
It was all subconscious.
Well, guys, I'm excited to see what Roadlock has brought to the Overwatch League. Because, guys, Stage 4 has already been a blast, and we're going to keep it that way. After today, 19 of our 20 teams will have made their debut in the new Roadlock Overwatch League. We'll tell you what to expect from the Valiant, Uprising, and Spark. Plus, Dogman and Baby Bay tell us how the Atlanta Reign hope the wave of energy from their electric homestand will carry them all the way to the playoffs. And as the sun continues to rise on a new stage, we'll award some of the most likely twos for the final chapter of the 2019 season. It all leads up to the Paris Eternal versus the LA Valiant on the big stage. You'll also see the Boston Uprising take on Guangzhou, and the Los Angeles Gladiators will battle Houston, and 2 top 12 teams will close out the day. The Reign play their first match since the Atlanta homestand against the Hangzhou Spark squad that shot all the way up to 4th place in stage 3. The Spark look to keep climbing against the Reign, who are hunting for the 12th and final playoff spot this stage. What should Atlanta fans expect from their team, Bryn?
Well, I mean, coming into this, they've got a very reasonable schedule in stage 4. I mean, if we look at all of their matches they're playing up again, and again, yes, there is a bit of a mix-up because we're going into 2-2-2, so the strength of these teams is going to be going up and down. But looking at these teams, you'd expect them to get wins against the majority of them, and they're already in a very good place. They're in 12th right now, so if they don't make it into the play-in tournament, I think people are going to be quite disappointed in their team overall because these games are very winnable. You look at the Fuel, you look at Uprising. Again, these teams that have been on the kind of the weaker side of things as well in stage 3, it will be a bit disappointing if they don't make it into that play-in, at least into the top 12.
I mean, the only problem here is that we still don't quite know how each of those teams, which we would peg as the weak teams, will perform in this very Roadlock scenario. Now, however, we're talking about Atlanta, riding that momentum from the homestand. I think that wave kind of already crashed at the beach. Like, it's been how many weeks? How long can you actually ride a momentum?
It was the holiday weekend.
Forever.
Forever, for actual ever. Okay.
I've been riding the momentum of my birth for 25 years.
And you're doing great, Josh.
Thank you.
Either way, now you completely threw me off. I think I wanted to talk about Erster. Yeah, let's chat about Erster first.
He's a good player.
Yeah, he's a fantastic player, and he's finally going to be back on that DPS role. We've seen him a little bit on Widowmaker as well as Tracer in the past, but now he can finally be, back on it full time. And I do think that the Spark the Atlanta Reign have a pretty scary DPS line there, to be honest.
I forgot about all this. He's actually nuts.
You forgot about that? How can you forget about that?
I forgot about Tracer.
No,
I missed her.
He's actually an insane player. And I think that could potentially cause a lot of havoc in the enemy lines. I'm very excited to see him back.
Same here. Now, for the Spark, some more crazy stuff. They tweeted some news the other day. Hangzhou saying they granted damage dealer Crystal a 10-day leave, but he never returned. He's apparently been gravely warned and docked pay for the extra days he's missing. Gravely warned. That scares me. That's so threatening to hear that. Sideshow, how does being down a damage dealer affect the Spark considering Roadlock is in place now?
I think this is actually huge for Hangzhou. I mean, you look at their lineup, the DPS duo they've normally been running of Adora and Godspeed isn't that great, honestly. It's very serviceable, but it's not extreme. It's not going to pop off. They need guys like Bazzi to be playing the Widowmaker and come in and have huge performances, or they would normally be relying on Crystal. But I don't think you can play Widowmaker the entire time. If they can, though, Vazzy is unbelievably good. He is like levels like happy, kind of insane mechanical skill on the Widowmaker. Used to be a flex support, moved over to DPS. His two trademark heroes are really the Widowmaker and the Tracer, which isn't, we haven't seen too many players be able to stick full time on the Widow so far in Stage 4. So I don't know whether they're going to be able to get full value out of Bazzi, and I'm a little worried that Spark, although people have a lot of expectation for them being a great DPS team, might fall down a bit without Crystal there to rely on.
Right, but it's still not doom and gloom for them, you would say.
No, I mean, they finished Stage 3 with whilst being one of the best teams. We would say they could potentially make a run all the way to the finals. And so I'm expecting a little less for them this time around.
All right, Sasha. Well, from the first meeting ever between two teams to the first of the season between two of our inaugural season clubs, the Los Angeles Gladiators went 3-1 against the Houston Outlaws last year. This year, the Gladiators are 14-8, while the Outlaws are 18-14. Or 8-14 rather, but both teams showed major potential in their first match with 2-2-2 on Thursday. What impressed you the most about their Stage 4 premiere, Zoe?
I think what really impressed me with both of those teams is that they came into their games with a very clear and set strat. So let's take a look at what was in their playbook specifically on those control maps. For the Houston Outlaws, they brought in Dante. Big talking point there, of course, because when they picked him up as that Tracer, he didn't see much playtime, obviously, in the last stage, as Tracer was just not quite a thing. So now it's great to see him back. Generally, it's a great kind of playing to the strength composition we have here with Muma on that Winston, playing it very flanky. So overall, they looked very strong when they fielded the lineup in this composition. On the other side, for the Gladiators, also on control, we saw hydration on the tank position at Hammond, something we haven't seen at all, I don't think. He did play tank previously, but not on Hammond. So overall there as well, it was cool to see them coming in with a very clear plan. However, the only issue I had with both of those teams and those plans they had was that they didn't really adapt when it didn't go their way. They came in with this game book, and then when they started losing, they stuck with it for a little too long. So I very much hope to see a little bit more adaptation on the fly if they get countered, or, you know, I just don't want to see them running their heads into the walls again.
Call that audible. Call it.
It's hydration is the guy I do want to focus on as an individual, because I have to do him dirty here. I gotta run the clip, run it over. Like let's just see this one. Let's run this one again.
Oh man,
this one's going into the Hall of Fame of plays that just didn't really quite hit the mark.
You hate to see it, bro.
Yeah.
That's bad.
It happens to the best of us. You know, you get a little bit of that forward momentum when you do the power driver. Miscalculating it. I do it all the time in my diamond games.
You're not at measurement here, though. Like that.
In all seriousness, though, his wrecking ball was definitely serviceable, and I love that they're adding hydration into this lineup to try and throw teams off, because he plays the wrecking ball to a reasonable level. His coordination is there with the rest of his team, but he also plays the Orisa. This is something that he has had in his arsenal for quite some time. It's not new. He's played it before. And if there was two heroes you need to be playing realistically in this meta, I mean, Wrecking Ball and the Orisa are the heroes you want to be playing, especially on those control maps. So I love that they're flexing him in. They're throwing a little bit of a curveball into a lot of these teams, making it a little bit harder for them to prepare for him.
Right.
Talk to me a little bit more about DPS players playing tank.
Really,
we've seen that all season long, Bren, DPS on tank. I want to talk about Tracer. We're finally seeing Tracer in the lineup.
Who?
Give me a Tracer versus Tracer.
What?
Comparison.
Who is that?
Pronto.
Post-bomb?
We have never seen a Tracer versus Tracer comparison in the whole of 2019. I'm so excited to bring these back, because we finally got Decay and Dante on their signature heroes, their roles that they were brought into these teams for. And I think we're going to see a lot from both of these guys. These are two of the teams that have been playing the most Tracer throughout Stage 4 so far, and I think that's because they've both found out ways of being able to make dive compositions work, and Decay and Dante are phenomenally talented themselves on Tracer. This could be one of the most exciting battles that we've seen throughout 2019, just because it's Tracer, and everyone loves watching Tracer.
She's back. What's a post-bomb? What's blinking?
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't blinked for the whole year. That's why my eyes are watery. It's crazy, man. I'm so excited. But guys, Houston needs some wins to get into the top 12 for the playoffs, but they're going to have some stiff competition. Several teams in action today are poised for a playoff run in Stage 4. We'll tell you who exactly has the legs for it when we return on the Watchpoint pre-show.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Stage 4 is all about the cutoffs for top 6 and top 12. Top 6 are guaranteed spots in our double elimination playoffs, while 7 through 12 will play a single elimination tournament for the final 2 spots. 2 teams squarely in the race for the 12th spot are Paris and the LA Valiant. The Eternal got off on the right foot with a win over Houston on Thursday. That win currently has them 1 spot above the Valiant, but LA has been hot, and a win today would push them past Paris into the 14th place. It's the Valiant's first match of the week. Brent, how do you think they're preparing for the Eternal so far?
Well, the Valiants have had actually a pretty easy time in terms of their preparation this week, because they've only had the 1 match to prepare for, and that's their match today, and they're up against the Paris Eternal. And the Paris Eternal have already played 2 days ago. They've had a day in between to kind of take a look at what they're running and prepare for that. But if there is one individual that they need to prepare for, it is going to be Shadowburn on the May, because this guy put up an unreal performance on this hero. Not only is his aim excellent with the projectiles, with the icicles, but his ability usage is also on point. He knows exactly when to use his wall, his ice blocks to kind of bait out abilities a lot of the times, but he uses the wall in very intelligent ways. Not many players are really using it in the same way as him, in that they're using it defensively and aggressively. Aggressively in being able to secure kills, defensively to block off a lot of the hook combos, to save his teammates. So he's a very intelligent player, and it's somebody that you are going to have to prepare for, otherwise it's going to catch you off guard like it did in that match the other day.
Right.
In that match the other day, though, I would say it was Soon that really took over. When he was playing the Widowmaker or when he was playing the Hangzhou, he had a performance, like a real carry-level performance, like we haven't seen from Soon in, honestly, since the beginning of last year as well. So he's always been a very consistent player, but he really stepped up with now that Stage 4 has introduced this role lock. And today he's going to be playing against his former team, which I think is going to add a new layer of motivation as well. He hasn't played against the LA Valiant since moving away from them, so who is going to shut him down on this Valiant squad? They are probably, in my opinion, going to run Shax and KSF for the majority of their time as their DPS duo. Shax plays a very good Widowmaker, Tracer, this kind of stuff, and KSF, although he can play the Widow and has done in the past, I think he's going to be more their projectile player, maybe the Mei, maybe the Hangzhou, stuff like that. And I think if my money was on either side to win that Widowmaker duel, it would be the LA Valiant. I think Shax and KSF are very individually talented, especially Shax. We haven't seen that much of him yet. We've only seen flashes of his Sombra. This is his stage to really have breakout performances, I think.
See, I actually disagree. I do think that Soon will be to one to win the Widow battle.
Well, you are
However, that is also not correct, but that's okay. I have a tendency to do vote for the French since the neighbors. But yeah, apart from my clear bias towards the French or for the French, no, I generally think that Soon will be coming out on top on the Widow battle. However, I do think that as a team overall, the Paris Eternal do struggle to actually follow up on those eliminations Soon is getting. We do see, if we're looking at KSF, if he is the one to play the Widowmaker, him and Soon both have a very similar first pick rate, so they do get those picked, both not incredibly high also. However, the win rate right after getting that crucial pick for the Paris Eternal is a lot lower than what we're seeing from the LA Valiant. That has been an issue. It's been an issue for the Paris Eternal in the past, and it has been their last game as well, where they do get the opening and then they can't follow up. And that's the whole point of playing a Widowmaker. It is to get that crucial pick so your team can move in. And if your team is not moving in and not following up on your first pick, then what's the point? You might as well not play the Widowmaker to begin with.
You're right. You're right about that.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward.
Appreciate that.
I agree with your point. And I got to see some clips from Soon. From Mexico. I was watching Soon clicking heads like a retractable pins. It was amazing. So I'm looking forward to this matchup. But guys, if the Valiant or the Eternal slip up, there's a team right behind them that could pounce on the opportunity. The Boston Uprising have a middling 8-13 record so far, but are hoping for a resurgence in a roll-lock Stage 4. Today, they'll face the Guangzhou Charge team that looks solid in a 5-map victory over Philadelphia Thursday. If you're Boston, Sideshow, how do you motivate for a late season run?
Well, that's a very good question, isn't it? Because this team hasn't looked the most motivated or the most cohesive recently.
Yeah.
But if you look at their Stage 4 schedule, it actually looks like this could be a time for them to turn their season around. They have to approach this as if it's a brand new start, a fresh beginning. It's the second easiest strength of schedule out of all of our teams in the league. Ooh. And they're a team that's a little bit like maybe the Philadelphia Fusion. Okay, they don't have the experience of last season's playoffs, but they're a team that didn't really enjoy playing the GOATS kind of meta, and it led to a lot of frustrations later on in the season. They were chopping and changing their lineup a lot. They had Blase taking over leadership qualities. Color Hex wasn't really performing on the Zarya. He's now able to really unlock his abilities. They were changing their support lineup. This should be a stage that Boston Uprising should be good for, and one they've prepped a little bit for coming in.
Yeah, and it's Color Hex who I really want to dive in on as an individual, because this guy, he wasn't picked up for his Zarya, as you said. It was mainly his flexibility on the DPS heroes and those damage dealers that was really causing havoc. His Widowmaker is phenomenal when it's really in the right hands, but he can play other stuff other than that. We haven't really seen too much of it, other than just Tracer, little bits and bobs of it flying around here and there. But this guy is the pride of New Zealand. He's a Kiwi, you know? He's going to be representing his country up there on the main stage as well, for all the Oceanic players as well. There's not many of them in the league, you know? I think the UK boys are starting to outnumber them now, you know what? We got Kib, Fusions, everyone else. But yeah, I mean, he's going to be representing not only his country here, of the only New Zealand player in the league, but also his team as well. He's going to be stepping up for them for the Boston Uprising.
I feel like you've been hyping him up all season long.
I really have, yeah. This is where I want to see him shine now, you know? This is his time to shine.
Yeah, all right, well, we'll get to see it today. And guys, we saw some new looks for the Charge against the Fusion. Zoe, what stood out to you from them in that win?
You know what? I think the obvious answer here will be, yay, happy popped off. But no, I'm not going to give you that one. I want to talk about Nero and his May play, because frankly, Fusion struggled so darn hard to actually shut it down. They just couldn't get it done. Just like what you said about Shadowburn, his wall placements were incredibly clever, as well as his usage for his ice blocks. He actually has been really, really darn hard to kill, and he distracted the opponents to the point where everyone else just had free reign. And that was one of the main reasons why Happy was allowed to really pop off like that. So Nero on that May looked like a real issue. So I very much hope for their opponents today that they can somewhat deal with that.
All right, they're going to have a tall order doing that. Well, guys, that is likely to be a heck of a match. But what else is likely to be happening in Stage 4? You'll find out when we offer our Stage 4 edition of Most Likely To. That's coming up next on the Watchpoint Pre-Show, presented by State Farm.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Sinatra and Clayton have controlled the point.
There it is. Flash gonna drop in. There was no trick open to save them. It's 4. Yep. Flanner knew where he had to be, and Trick Open looks around with dismay. You can't be everywhere at once, but someone had to stop the barrage with a nano boost. It was never going to happen.
For a big fight.
Yeah, looking for the shot, misses on the Violet. An absolutely crucial pick if he can find it. Full hog from Youngjin though. Will just take down Rascal, now pushes up, looks for Super. And they will be able to find that pick. Youngjin's gonna be pulled in. Wraps around, he does the 180 hook on the block!
It's always good.
It's all like we just saw. Valiant wasting no time and jumping right back in there for the aggression. Great move on the Goose Wave. Send into the team, but they've got the grab. Oh man, we've seen that one before. And that is gonna be a 4K with the Dragon Strike.
With so much fighting close up. Oh, are you kidding me? An amplification matrix already, and here comes San Francisco. What a shatter! Oh, they called the shot for nothing, Matt.
Come in at the last moment. Luffy lining up, Coma on the Moira now. Here comes DM. The EMP could be the difference maker. Gets it off, and there's the ding with the barrage. EMP barrage will deliver.
In my entire life, I've never been in such a hype and amazing moment as this event has been. Going on stage and feeling the rumble of the ground, that amount of energy I've never felt before.
It's the Atlanta Rain!
If we couldn't fill out this whole arena, we probably would have felt bad, honestly. We took a lot of their energy and brought it into our games.
When we had DeFran coming out in the Phoenix costume, it was hilarious because nobody knew who he was. When he took it off and he yelled, "Let's go, dude," the entire crowd erupted, and it was something special.
Sir, what's going on? Oh my, it's DeFran! Oh my word! What's going on? Anything you want to say to the people here in Atlanta? Let's go, dude!
Being able to walk through that smoke and like Golden Boys announcing your name, it was really crazy. It got like a huge reaction from all the people, and like they all want to shake our hands, and there's no way not to get hyped walking up to that stage when that happened.
The greatest Chad in the Overwatch League, Baby Bay!
My special moment since I've been here was I had a little girl named Ella come up to me, hey baby, I really wanted to get your autograph, but your jersey is sold out. And I was just like, no way. I felt so bad, so I actually had an extra jersey, an away jersey. I ended up just giving it to her and signing it and like, you know, saying to Ella. And yeah, it was just like really a heart-feeling moment, and I was really glad I could do that for her.
Just going outside, out of the player lounge to just go to the car to get food, everybody just keeps coming out with pictures and stuff, and I was like, man, I'm just like some kid from Arizona. Nobody gave a damn. I just played video games my whole life. Even in high school, everybody thought, you know, maybe he's a nerd or whatever, you know, I don't go out, I don't go to parties and stuff like that in high school. So to be in that moment, it's wonderful and it's surreal.
Atlanta Reign completes a 2-0 here in front of the home crowd.
This is definitely a huge confidence boost for us. We're definitely going to try to take all the energy that we got from the crowd into our future games.
You know, hopefully that because of the amount of people that were here and the fun and exciting energy that we brought, maybe we can bring some of those fans and cheers back to LA. And I think next stage, if we use that energy again like we did here, I think we've got the experience and the momentum to, you know, propel forward into the end of season playoffs.
It's time for the Stage 4 installment of Most Likely To. First up, which team in the top 12 currently is the most likely to fall out of the season playoffs? As you guys can see here on the board, we got the Dynasty Dragons, Fusion, Hunters, Charge, and the Fuel. Pick one of those teams and put them on the board in 3, 2, 1.
I misspelt it. I misspelt it.
Oh.
It looks like we got Dallas across the board.
Listen, I don't feel good about this.
Wow. 3 for Dallas, the Dallas Fuel. All right, guys, we're going to keep it moving. Next, we talked about the Sparks' grave warning to Crystal. Who is most likely to be next to receive a grave warning here in the Overwatch League? We got a lot of players to go to. You know, we got people who pop off on stage, people who pop off to the
I know
teams.
exactly who's going to get them.
It could be part of the talent team. Yeah, definitely. Go ham. 3, 2, 1, go.
It's definitely going to be Bren.
Bren.
Bren's on the verge of being put in the grave.
I'm shocked you didn't pick yourself, Bren. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I mean, I've got in trouble a couple of
It's
times.
putting on a grave face while it's handing out.
All right, guys, last one. We've seen some big showings of
misunderstood.
emotion on the Blizzard Arena stage this season. Jake, Fusion's, Cruz, all that. So who's most likely to rage on stage next? This one should be pretty interesting to see. Guys, 3, 2, 1, go.
I
don't know.
I panicked.
Brent said Mr. X, and
nobody
these
else
guys
said
have
anything.
nobody.
I was going to go for whoever faces Gesture in a Widow 1v1, but it was too long to write. And then I panicked.
All right, guys. Well, we got to keep it moving. So that's what's most likely to happen. But what will definitely be happening in less than 10 minutes is an all-out brawl between the Paris Eternal and the Los Angeles Valiant. We've got our predictions next on the Watchpoint pre-show presented by State Farm.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Here are your Saturday predictions from these smarty pants analysts. Zoe is feeling Paris over the Valiant. All three analysts like the Guangsters to keep it rolling versus Boston, and the Gladiators to beat Houston. Sideshow is taking Atlanta over the Spark. Very interested to know, you think they're riding the wave of the homestand?
Yeah, I'm amazed that, Zoe, you didn't go with Atlanta, whereas you always go with these guys.
I think we're really close. We have to close out the show. I think we're running out of time.
That's it.
They're looking peachy. Ursta's going to dominate.
Peachy. I like it. I like you said peachy. Very, very clever. Well, guys, that does it for the Watchpoint pre-show presented by State Farm. We'll see you guys at halftime, but until then, enjoy the matches.